Hey, what's up everybody? My name's Cate, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today we're back doing kind of a different video. We're talking about Canada versus the United States. So this is Emily, this is my niece. Hi! And we have been in Canada actually for the last 2 weeks. If you want to check out those videos, there'll be a link up in the top. You can check those vlogs out. Today we're going to be talking about differences. We're going to start with pronunciations of words, and then we're going to talk about different names for different items. So, yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Bagel.
Bagel. House. So we said this earlier, different parts of Canada have different pronunciations. So like a boot, like people, instead of about, people say a boot.
About.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah, so about the same.
We all skip the T though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up in an American family, obviously. My dad's American, so because I grew up with an American background, I still say a lot of words a more American style, but there are certain words I'll still say in a Canadian way.
Like bagel.
Yeah.
That's okay though.
Nikes? Oh, runners.
So, tennis shoes. This actually happened when we were at the zoo the other day. Zach was asking me about my shoes. And I was like, yeah, my tennis shoes. And he was like, what are you talking about?
You're not playing tennis in them though.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's true. But I was like, my sneakers? And he was like, running shoes? And I was like, yeah, I mean, you do run in them sometimes.
Restroom.
It was restroom. I have noticed...
I sometimes call it restroom, sometimes I'll call it washroom, it just depends.
Yeah, I've noticed that people call it washroom a lot here.
Yeah.
But you don't wash in them, but you also don't rest in
You wash
them.
your hands in them. If you don't wash your hands in them, that's a problem.
Oh, well, that's a good point. Wash. I was thinking like full body wash. Like, yeah, okay. Remote. So I put that on the list because it said that in certain areas of Canada, what's the word for it?
Converter.
Some people call it a TV converter instead of a TV remote.
Maybe they're just old.
That's a good point.
Beanie?
So,
It could be a toque, but I don't, like some Canadians do call it that, I don't call it that.
yeah, that's what I saw. I didn't even know that's how you pronounce that word.
Say it again.
Toque.
I would have called it a toque.
Me too.
Soda.
Or pop.
Soda. But
Usually I'll call it pop. I don't know why I call it soda.
Well, my Matt, who's behind the camera, he calls it pop.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Honestly, it just depends on my mood.
I grew up in the north. The
Sorry.
majority of when I learned to speak, the majority of that was in Wisconsin. And I have kept some of the things from that. The major one is pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it's in a cup, I'll definitely call it pop. If it's in a can, I might call it soda. And I don't know why.
Interesting.
That's really weird because the can's what pops.
It's a pop can. I don't know.
Oh yeah. So we're done with pronunciations and different names for things. Some of the main things I've noticed being in Canada, you guys have your milk in bags instead of cartons.
Yes, for cow's milk, we have it in bags. We also usually have a lot of oat milk and other options here because of how we just like to have other options for vegan, gluten-free, lactose-free, all these different options.
Yeah. I noticed that every restaurant we went to always had more options to be more inclusive, and that's a thing in some places in the States, but like we're from the South, which is the last group of people typically on the uptake of things. So inclusivity, like if you go to the South and you're like, do you have anything vegan on your menu? Most of the time people will laugh at you. So
even at fast food restaurants, we have like Beyond Meat, so it's like not really having meat in it, but it still tastes like meat and stuff like that. You can find that nearly everywhere.
I've noticed not just like here at your house, like you guys recycle, but you also compost.
Yep.
And everywhere that we went while we were here, there were trash cans and recycling bins everywhere. Which I think is a good thing because I think it if it's available, people are going to use it more.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think I know anyone who doesn't recycle. And actually it's funny because a lot of people, if you don't like recycle it properly, they'll like get on your case about it. And what I found interesting is you guys didn't know which one, like which object to put in which bin.
Yeah.
Because for us, it's just we are always there.
Yeah, I found myself
That's
asking you a lot, like,
Yeah.
does this recycle? Does this recycle?
Yeah.
And I think part of that is due to, like, schools in America don't talk to kids about recycling and, like, what the different type of plastics are and which plastics are recyclable. Like, you have to look it up on your own, and a lot of people just don't want to take that extra step, so.
Yeah.
I think
when we were taught about it in school, we were also then taught, like, even if you don't know what it is, it will say on the bottle.
Yeah. Yes, straws. So the whole time we've been here, every place we've gone out to eat, I don't think I've seen a single plastic straw since we've been here.
There was one. It was at like this like shack though. It was like,
Oh really? Every place we went had paper straws. Like, and I get it to an extent, but like there was one point where we were like having boba, and like the straw was disintegrating, and I was just
my straw was gone by halfway.
Yeah, I was trying to get the tapioca pearls at the bottom, and I was like, they're not coming up.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, I love turtles, but at the same time, they need to come up with a better solution.
they make a biodegradable plastic
They
straw.
do, but I'm pretty sure it's just because it's more expensive. The big companies are like, no.
Makes sense.
It's also a problem with carbonated drinks. If you try and sip a carbonated drink, especially root beer, that one's really bad. If you try and sip it with a paper straw, you just get bubbles
Dang.
constantly. And then the carbonation goes, and you're just drinking like juice. It's weird.
But yeah, plastic straws are very
They're
rare
awful.
in Canada. So you're not old enough to drink. What is the drinking age in Canada?
19.
19. Interesting. In the States, it's 21. So in Canada, they measure beer by volume instead of mass, where the States do it by mass, which ends up meaning that the beer is more alcoholic, has more alcohol in it compared. Since being here, like going out to eat at restaurants and fast food wise, your portion sizes are smaller.
Tiny. Yeah, so I noticed when going to the States actually that when we asked for like a large drink, we're used to like this big of a drink and that size round. And it was like this big, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? And so I had to like share it with one of my family members because I'm like, this is like massive to me.
Yeah.
Because I there was no way I was gonna finish it. It was just so big.
Apparently, you guys have a stricter standard for food in the way of like high fructose corn syrup or whatever, like what goes into your food.
Ooh,
And
healthy.
we healthy. Yeah, and honestly, it seems that way. Like it seems like the culture in Canada is set up to be a more healthy, active one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we do have a lot of European roots of our country, so that would make sense as to why that is.
Mm-hmm.
We also are very culturally diverse, similar to the States, and especially since we are so close to like Toronto area, it's easier to find all these different food options and to be healthier.
Also, I've noticed that everything here tends to be bilingual,
Oh yeah.
like English and French.
Yeah.
Do they make you take French, like mandatory in school?
Yes. So until grade 9, you have to take French. You can drop out of the grade 9 French program for special reasons. If you have an IEP, basically, if you just have like a mental condition that you cannot go to that class. But for the most part, everyone takes it up until grade 9, and then you can choose to take it throughout grade 12 and beyond and become bilingual officially, or you can just drop out of it. I personally dropped out of it because it got extremely hard.
Yeah. We're in the States, like in public school, I think we take Spanish. So for me, I took Spanish in grade school, like one year, and then when I got to high school, I had to take high school Spanish. But other than those 2 semesters that I took, I think we had options to take it, but it was only a semester. Like you didn't continue it. But when we went to college, that's when it was like, oh, you can do this for multiple classes.
Yeah, we also have French immersion schools a lot, which you are speaking fully French all the time in every single class.
That's the best way to learn, they say.
It is. That's how I learned so much French, because one of my teachers, she'd switched from a French immerse, so she made us speak French entirely in the class, whereas I knew no French, so I had to learn it in a whole year. But, I mean, it helped me very much. Especially in Canada, being able to speak two languages, like French and English, it gets you far, because if you go to Quebec, there will be a lot of French.
So I haven't noticed this with your family, because it makes sense, because they've spent a majority of their time in the States. Yeah. But your softball coach, as I have noticed, he sounds like the typical Canadian man.
Yeah, and I don't even notice it.
Yeah, so adding the A on the end of sentences. Do you hear that a lot?
I honestly do. It's very, very common for someone to add A to the end of it. I do sometimes. I honestly just try not to, because of how stereotypical it is. And I don't know. Yeah. But I'm starting to fall more into the saying A at the end of sentences for literally no reason. Just because I think it sounds right.
Yeah. People also, stereotypes about Canadians, the whole, people apologizing for no reason, that did happen. So, anytime anyone else gets anywhere near you, anywhere near your bubble, immediately sorry. But not sorry, it's sorry.
Sorry?
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 Yeah, well, I mean, I say sorry, but, Canadian people, while I've been here, it's a get way too close by accident, and then they're like, sorry, and they're
yeah, that's true. Especially, we went to a bunch of places that were, very crowded, and so because of that, you're constantly in people's bubbles, and so all you're hearing the whole entire time is, sorry, sorry, sorry.
We've discussed the differences, similarities that I've noticed between the States and Canada. Honestly, looks-wise, is not that different. So, the neighborhoods, the feel of the neighborhoods, very much the same compared to when I went to Turkey. I went to Istanbul. Completely different culture, completely different types of buildings, types of people. I didn't get that feeling, almost like a culture shock. I didn't feel that when I came here. So, and then driving, especially in Toronto, is very similar, because it's not like you guys drive on the opposite side of the road, and you can drive here with a U.S. driver's license.
I think it's up to 2 months or so.
Yeah.
Before you have to apply for your.
But driving laws and everything are essentially the same.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why you can drive from here to the States, here to the States here.
Makes sense.
Just the way that countries work, the fact that we have you have states are basically nearly the same as provinces and territories. It honestly also depends on where you are in Canada. When I went out to BC and stuff, it was nearly a culture shock for me, because of how different of a province they are, BC is, as well as Calgary. Going to Calgary was actually going to down south, and I feel if you went to Calgary, you would probably be thinking you didn't even cross the border, because they're just so similar to down south. They even have their license plates on just one end.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, is that a thing? In Canada, you have 2 license plates?
So, yeah, in Ontario, honestly, in most of our provinces, you have a license plate on the front of the car and on the back of the car. Most of them have it on the center front. Some of them will have it on the side, though. Really doesn't matter. But in Calgary, I know for sure Calgary, I don't know where else, but for sure Calgary, they have just on the back, in the States usually.
There are some states there are certain states in the U.S. that do require front and back license plates. I just don't know which ones they are. Religion in the States, I think the highest religion in the States is Christianity. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that here, specifically in Ontario, the highest or the most percentage of people are atheists or agnostics.
Yeah, honestly, most people you meet are going to tell you they're atheist, I feel like. Although I do meet a lot of Christians. Especially I feel like it's just in the bubble I'm in, I meet a lot of Christians because of like the school I go to, because of all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the way I was raised and everything. But even still, like at my sports and stuff like that, I meet a lot of Christians.
Yep.
Usually I find it's either Christians or atheists. There's fewer of any others that I see.
I did notice while we were in Toronto, like when we were at those crowded events and stuff, I saw a lot of Muslims and I saw a lot of Sikhs. Is that how that's pronounced?
Yeah.
They wear the turban.
That's a Sikh.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are they're more common in especially in Toronto area
Mm-hmm.
because Toronto is very culturally diverse.
Right.
Where we live, like it's not as culturally diverse.
Right.
Because in Toronto you have a lot more job opportunities. We've got like Chinatown. We've got like all these different little towns that have like people from that area. And it's really cool because if you go to that area, you're gonna have like authentic food from China, from India, from all these different places. So if you ever really want authentic food in Toronto, you gotta find those little towns.
Is that everything on our list? Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this kind of content, make sure you leave a like on this video. Also make sure you're subscribed so that you're notified when I post more content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!